I got some exciting news. My son just purchased his first new home. So that got me thinking, what are some must-have tools that every new homeowner should need? Let me show you. First off, I do have to say, try to avoid the little kits that are usually $20 to $50. They have a hammer, maybe a set of pliers, and a couple little screwdrivers. Usually these tool sets are not very complete. They're usually really cheap and will break easy. And overall, they're just not gonna have close to enough tools that you're ever gonna need being a homeowner. Secondly, the brands that I'm about to mention and that you'll see around my shop are just for an example. You do not have to go with these brands. In fact, just go with whatever brand you would like as long as it is a good name brand tool. That's the main thing you're looking for because you want longevity out of these tools. Now, of course, most people know to purchase a hammer, a screwdriver or two, and a measuring tape. But there's a little bit more to it than that. A good quality metal hammer will last you a lifetime. But whenever you're trying to assemble stuff, I'd suggest getting a rubber mallet. This is great, especially when you're trying to put together some storage shelves or things in your garage you just need to assemble stuff with. It just need a light tap and you don't want to use metal on metal. So get a regular hammer and a rubber mallet. When it comes to screwdrivers, try to avoid the one that has all the interchangeable bits on the end. These are really hard to keep track of, and once you lose them, this shaft is pretty much useless. So I wouldn't recommend getting this. But instead, I'd be more interested in finding an actual screwdriver set. One that has Phillips on the end and flathead on the other. You can usually find these in a variety pack of 10 or more in an actual kit. That'll be a lot more likely to be used in a variety of areas around the home. When it comes to measuring tapes, they come in a variety of lengths, anywhere from really short to really long. For a homeowner, I'd recommend anything from 16 foot to 25 foot. That should allow you to measure most bedrooms and living rooms and kitchens and get the full dimension of whatever you need to measure without having to do multiple measurings. So try and get 16 to 25 foot. Next up, your homeowner is going to need a variety of nails and screws. Now, of course, this is a very large collection. They don't need this many to begin, but get some nails and screws that are a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, because they're going to need to add things to the wall, hang stuff up, and just build a variety of items in their basic tools. Moving on, a set of pliers can be really handy. The only thing is, if you've ever looked at all the varieties of pliers, it can be a little overwhelming knowing which ones to grab. So let me show you a few that are useful. The first pair of pliers I'd recommend is this, what they refer to as a slip joint. This has two different sizes for the bite down here. You can do if you have something small, or it allows you to move it over and grab something that's much larger. These are really handy and probably one of the more useful ones around the house. The next set would be these needle nose pliers, and they refer to that as, if you look here on the ends, they come to almost a point, kind of like a needle. These are really helpful when you're trying to reach into small gaps or reach into places that your standard other pliers just won't fit in. And the third set of pliers is what I've always referred to as water pump pliers. They are also the slip type, like we showed you earlier, that will allow you to adjust the size to whatever you need, but these are great at grabbing rounded type objects and twisting them. So make sure you get a set of these as well. And the last set of pliers is actually a form of a cutting tool. Even though it's still referred to as a type of pliers, these can be referred to as wire cutters or side cutters. It's good for cutting hard little wire type items you'll find around the house whenever you're doing maintenance. Next up, a new homeowner is going to need some wrenches. Now these can be found in a variety of kits. Super large, super small, and everything in between. They can also be a little bit on the expensive side. So for somebody who's not going to use these daily, let's say you're not a mechanic, then a full set of these might be a little too expensive for you. In that case, I definitely suggest getting at least a few crescent wrenches. Now this will allow you to open and close the opening right here on the end of this wrench and get in there and take nuts and bolts off relatively easily. Now, if you are going to be using this a lot, well, this crescent wrench can drive you a little nutty because the adjustment here can easily be bumped and you have to constantly adjust to take stuff off. That is when a set of wrenches will definitely be the benefit that you need. So whatever you need, a crescent wrench or a full set of wrenches, you definitely need one of these. Jumping ahead, I would suggest getting a drill and driver set. Now this is the drill, this is the impact driver, and in recent debates they say the drill is usually not as handy as the driver anymore because they have a lot more accessories for it. But the drill, I believe, is still super handy, especially for a new person using tools because of variability in speed. You can go fast and slow that the impact doesn't really have in that selection. Overall, Get a good brand, and that way the internals inside will definitely last longer, and the batteries are usually better with the better brands versus some of the cheap stuff. They just don't last. It's also a good idea to pick up a small kit with a variety of drill bits and inserts for your drill and impact to make them as useful as possible. The next tool would be a hex key set. These come in a variety of sizes and are very, very useful. And that's especially true if you have any pre-made furniture, let's say from IKEA or any places like that. The tools they include can sometimes get lost or just even be forgotten. And if you buy a set of these, this will allow you to put those things together and take them apart whenever you need it. For a new homeowner, one of the commonly forgotten tools is, well, a level. Whether you're putting up a picture frame or maybe making sure that trim you're adding is nice and level, don't forget your level. Also, we don't want to forget about the utility knife. This right here is great for opening up those moving boxes, or maybe that new paint around your window is making it stick and you can trim it out real carefully so now it can go up and down really easily. These are really handy, but I would recommend getting one that folds up. It allows it to be a little bit more compact and you don't have to worry about that blade cutting you. If by chance the new homeowner is a DIY person or you like to maybe renovate on your house, definitely make sure they have some type of a circular saw if they don't already. A lot of times you can buy these in combination kits with a drill and driver set and everything else that might come with it. Now these are great. Maybe they want to do a little repair on their house or whatever they need. I'd suggest getting a circular saw. Of course, if you want to go a little bit cheaper, you might be able to buy a hand saw, but this will just make it a lot nicer. Next up is an extension cord. Now this particular one I keep in my garage because it's a little bit heavier duty version, but you can get everything from the small stuff. You might need a lamp in the house to a heavy duty version you can use in a garage. In any case, an extension cord is definitely something you could buy. Now a new homeowner definitely needs either a step ladder or a step stool. These are very important, especially if you're changing light bulbs or light fixtures or anything overhead. And trust me, it is much safer than trying to stick a chair on top of a table. Yes, we've had an accident in the past. You also want to consider having a pry bar. This is a smaller version. They come in really long versions, but this right here will allow you to maybe remove nails or lift up. If you have some heavy furniture you can't get up, you can always pry it up a little bit with a pry bar. Maybe you're trying to remove some of that wood you're renovating. In any case, at least get a basic pry bar. It will definitely come in handy. Now, being a homeowner myself, there is rarely a day that I don't use either tape or a cable tie for something. When it comes to the tape, there are a bunch of varieties. I would suggest getting some painter's tape and some heavy duty, in this case, monster tape or some duct tape. When it comes to the cable ties, of course, a bunch of different colors and lengths and sizes. You want just a small variety. I'd suggest getting a variety pack that'll allow you to have the different lengths. These will come in handy for you surprisingly more often than you'd think. Next up is a stud finder, and I would show you mine, but yesterday my son came to me and said, "Hey, can I borrow that stud finder?" He apparently needs to put something up in his house and doesn't have one. So it's a tool that we often forget, but we definitely can use, especially if you're a new homeowner. Another common tool that a lot of us forget about until we are in extreme need for it is a plunger. So definitely pick up one of these. Now when we buy a new home, it is really common to remember, hey, we need a lawnmower. But unless it's fall time, a lot of times we forget about the leaf blower. And if you don't have one of these come fall, you're probably going to regret it. Also, remember to pick up a set of pruning shears so you can keep those bushes trimmed before they get a little too wild. The 5-gallon bucket is a highly recommended tool for everyone. This is such a universal piece. You can carry your tools in here. Maybe you need to take some water out to a certain location. Or maybe you're out in your garden trying to plant some plants. You dig up some dirt, stick it in here, transfer it to another location to get rid of it. In any case, get your 5-gallon bucket. And last but definitely not least, you either need a toolbox or a tool bag to keep most of your tools in, because you want to keep them away from dirt, grime, dust, moisture. You want to keep them in a nice location where they don't start to rust on you, because these tools, if you take care of them, can last you a very, very long time. If you don't, they can be bad in less than a year. It just depends on how you treat them and how you want to take care of them, because these tools, they can make your life in a new home much nicer. Now, if some of you are new to these tools, you might not exactly know where to shop. I would suggest looking at maybe Home Depot or Lowe's. I've heard Menards is good. If you're in Australia, Bunnings is really large building with a variety of these tools. In any case, make sure you get a decent brand. Now, if you look really hard, sometimes you can find these decent, okay tools, maybe like a Harbor Freight. It's kind of a give and take at that store. Some of the items are good, some of them not so good. You should probably do some research before you buy everything there. Sometimes you can find these on Amazon. And again, do your research, look at the reviews, make sure it's a decent tool before you buy it. Don't just buy it, okay? I'm trying to save you a little time and effort. If you buy cheap stuff, I guarantee you'll be buying more later because they will break. Also, if you happen to have any estate sales or yard sales in your area, definitely check out some of those. Every so often, I find some really cool tools at one of these locations. Not everyone, but occasionally you will find some. But you do need to know what you're buying before you buy them. So I'd suggest, especially in today's technology, pull out your phone, check and see what type it is before you actually buy it. And if it's a decent one, take it home with a good price. Now, for those of you who are watching this because you just recently bought a new home, just be prepared. Over time, there will be maintenance on every aspect of your home. Nothing lasts forever, and I just want you to be prepared and know that don't worry, if there's something wrong, I guarantee you that there's probably a video somewhere on YouTube that gives you an idea of what to do and how to do it. But also remember, if you don't feel 100% confident doing it, please hire a professional. I'd rather you spend a little extra money now than a whole lot of money later.